Hey, everybody. This is Chuck D on your YouTube TV coming to you. What's up? I said I'd do a show around this time today, so I'm just chilling. Wonder what I was thinking about before. So education, kids are doing now, how they're different than when you went to school. You know, when I started going to school, kindergarten, first grade, I lived in the city. And the school I went to, it was like a prison. When they let us out for recess, had these big fences around the yard and these big walls, just like a prison yard at Alcatraz or something. And I remember this mentally challenged kid. They let him do just whatever he wanted to do. They didn't really watch him or give him counseling or take care of him. And he would just, one time, he took a manhole. He just picked it up and hit me over the head with it. And I think it might have knocked me out for a few seconds. But that's just the kind of stuff that went on there. And my best friend was William. He's a black kid who wouldn't stand for the national anthem. And his parents, I think, were Black Panthers. But he was a great kid. I think it was his parents' idea not to stand for the anthem because everyone else did. In fact, the teacher told him, you tried to do that in the old days, not stand for the anthem. If you're in the army or something, they'd shoot you. But me and him, we were the best of friends. We'd always take off, during lunch hour or something. We'd just take off, go to the store, buy some snacks, Fritos, grape sodas, go back to my apartment or something, hang out. One time I just left the school and didn't come back that day. I went to the daycare I was at. This is first grade, I think. And I told him school's over for today, It was a half a day. And, they knew that wasn't true because the other kids from the school didn't get there yet. So they took me back to school and the teacher just, punished me or whatever. That's the kind of stuff you would try to get away with in first grade. And you're going to school like that. And so, I learned to cuss and everything like that. Shock even the teachers there or whoever took care of the kids at the daycare. And we had this plastic pinball machine out there in the yard. And I was playing, and we were all taking turns and whatnot. And when I was playing, somebody's always trying to push me out of the way. I said, "Come on, let me play, let me play." And I'd start cussing them. I'd call them this, I'd call them that, call them any name under the sun, F this and screw you, and all kinds of stuff. Anything you could think of, like a sailor. And, I got reported. The teacher, whoever he is, comes over and, calls up my mother and stuff. And he's telling her, where did he get all these words from and stuff? And, it's from the other kids. I don't know why he singled me out. So he's like using this opportunity, like to try to get a date with my mother. And I think we actually went over to his apartment once for dinner. Real awkward situation, made no sense. But that's weird. Daycare in those days, strange things happen. There's no oversight like there is now. because you suspect one of those teachers takes a liking to some kid, if you know what I mean. Yeah, who knows? But that's just what went on. Crazy stuff. I finally got out of the city, got away from all that. Actually, went to the suburbs, went to a rich suburb, though I wasn't rich or anything, and started going to grade school there and Catholic school. And that's a whole nother thing, you know, because of the strictness, because of the religious factor, that they're extra strict on you. If there's nuns and priests and whatnot taking care of you. One guy wasn't a priest, but he was the principal of the grade school. He would do this thing whereas he would pick you up. You would wear ties and stuff. We had uniforms. He'd pick you up by the tie, press you against the wall, and lift you up. And he did something he didn't like, or he caught you. I was running in the hall once, and I actually bumped into him, knocked his coffee all over him. He was mad, and he did pick me up like that, and it was no fun. You think you're gonna choke, and I saw him do it to other kids. Nowadays, online, in Facebook and all that, I've hearing other people, other kids that went to that school there, it's saying, the same thing that happened to them, and they remember it all these years later. That the way you discipline a kid stays with them, and it's not always for the good. Sometimes I think it's best to just let them know what they did wrong, so they can figure it out instead of just hitting them or whatnot. But I was hit, that's for sure. And then the nuns, what they do is they take a ruler, and if you were, mouthing off in class or something, talking to your friends, they take the ruler, put your hand on the desk, and turn the ruler sideways, and hit those knuckles of yours as hard as they could. And that hurt, and that was their punishment. Or else even worse than that, they send you to the principal's office, who was so mean. That's the worst thing in the world. That's like going to see the warden if you were in jail and thinking that you're going to get thrown into solitary confinement or something. But that's crazy. Going to Catholic school, and the best friends I had turned out to be the weirdest people later. Like, it's hard to, especially when you're coming from the city and whatnot, you don't really have anything in common with these kids. So the best friends you pick are usually other people who aren't used to the Catholic school thing and uniforms and all that too. They turned out to be the weirdest people later on. Like, you wouldn't believe. But great guys, but they were in strange circumstances, like I did, like I came from. And that's what it turns you into. I got this cold today. Coughing. Got a sore throat a little bit. But they were great guys, though. I should take this stuff. This medicine. Decongestant stuff. Maybe I will later. But then I go to high school. It's a little better in high school, because kids are starting to get their own identity and doing their own thing, and not worry too much about what you're doing, and the teachers know that. But in high school, all kinds of crazy pranks happen. It's so funny when you get into that kind of stuff. I mean, get into like stuff like blowing up the toilets. You take M80s with the waterproof fuses, and you put them down until you flush it. You light it and you flush it down the toilet. And we did that, and it blew up the pipes and the ceiling over the science lab, and the whole ceiling and the water and everything fell down on the tables where the kids were doing the experiments with the Bunsen burners and whatnot. That's so funny. And then, putting Jello in the pool. I wasn't in on that one. But these kids, they must have gotten, like 5,000 packets of Jello, and they put it in the pool, and made it a solid thing of Jello. The whole pool was solid Jello, and that they got the police involved and everything, and nobody told who did it, and they never found out really who did it. But can you imagine that? I mean, these days they'd call, Homeland Security. There'd be cameras all around and everything, and nobody'd get away with it. But back then, it was fun. You can actually do stuff like that. So, high school was okay. I was thinking of education today, what kids go through. And it can't be fun like when we went there. You can't get away with the stuff you did back then. People have changed. And I think not for the better, but whatever. So then end up in my own apartment after all that. And then living in an apartment's a problem in itself. You need to get your own house and stuff. Because living in your own apartment's no fun when you got to depend on maintenance. You want something fixed, it's going to take 2 weeks for the guy just to look on the list and see that you need something fixed. The heat, they usually come and fix pretty good. They have to have some priorities, but if something's falling down or something like that, even the ceiling's falling down, they ain't gonna come for a couple weeks. The windows don't open and close. They freeze, or else they break, and the windows just fall up. The chain breaks that holds them when it goes up and down. And those things will come down, and they're heavy windows. If your hands are under, they break your knuckles, break your hand off. They'll never come to fix the windows, that's for sure. But, that's just the way it is with the maintenance. Then they want you to paint the place. If the place needs painting, they want you to paint it. I had to do that once. I made them provide the paint for me, but that's a big job, But luckily, I had done the odd jobs before when I was about 20 years old. I used to do painting, used to do roofing, and so I was just ready to do that. I painted it pretty easy. It's just a pain in the neck, moving the furniture. You got to move the furniture into the center of the room and just paint the walls, paint the ceilings, do everything. Fix the toilet by myself. I could do that much too. Toilet's not too hard to figure out, But other stuff, you're kind of on your own with the maintenance. Yeah, I hate that. And maintenance guy tries to scam me, say he's going to be in tomorrow. He's going to come see you right away. If you run into him outside, say, hey, man, I put in a work order. You going to come? So, yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you tomorrow. You're my first stop on the schedule tomorrow. And that's bullshit. So, the people I dislike, like that, just people, liars like that. People who hurt animals, those are the worst. Selfish people. Selfish, I like giving people. Like doing stuff. Doing something for somebody is the best thing to make yourself feel good. And that's how it's supposed to be. Doing stuff for each other, making each other feel good, makes the world a better place. But abusing animals, you're the lowest scumbag of the earth. Because that's what you want to do to people. People who abuse animals, if they could get away with it, they do the same thing to people. So, it's weird. I like to get away from idiots. That's why you see on my YouTube channel all the places I go, all the trips I take to get back to nature. Nature is the most beautiful thing that God has put on this earth. the trees and the rivers and the mountains. So that's what you see most on my channel. That's why I take my videos and take my pictures. And that's why I have so many of them on there. Because that's what it's all about. It's getting back to nature. I could never live in the city again, I don't think. Unless I got away from it every weekend. Went out to the mountains. But that's what I try to do. That's what I'm telling you. If you enjoy that, try to do as much as you can before you get too old. Because once you get too old, all you're going to be able to do is sit in the car and drive by and look out the window at that kind of stuff. If you want to hike and whatnot, take a long walk, you better got to keep in shape and do it when you're young. And you will be much better off for it, that's for sure. So, I guess that's about all I got to say for today. So, I will see you next time on Chuck D on your YouTube TV. And I'm out. Take care, everybody.